Hello, and welcome to the Happy Little Futures podcast. Before we get started, as always, we're going to take a deep breath into our stomachs and out through our mouth. So, breathing in and release. Fantastic. So, this week it's going to be a little bit of a stream of consciousness, I'm afraid, guys. I've been toing and froing as to what to talk to you about today. But I'm going to talk about advocating for our children. We're having an unsettled time at the moment with our eldest. I've spoken before about the fact that she's the reason that I started doing mindfulness and meditation with the kids in the first place. She's the reason that I've become a meditation coach. What she's been through COVID and all of those times has impacted her mental health over time. And whilst I thought that she was in a good place in general, whilst I was aware that, yeah, she's a bit of a perfectionist, but also she's got, lots of friends and stuff like that, I'm increasingly becoming aware at the moment of the fact that she is saying things at home, disconnected from times that she's experiencing them at school. She's saying them the same sorts of things a lot. When I've seen her playing with friends, she hasn't looked comfortable in her body, which is an odd one to say out loud. We saw her in assembly the other day, and she actually looked quite washed out. And it could just be the time of year and everything, that she's got a bit of a cold or something, or it could be actually that stuff's on her mind a lot more than we're giving her credit for. So, what am I doing to help her in this situation? Obviously, we do a lot of mindfulness and meditation and stuff like that at home as a family anyway. We don't do this in the strict sit down, be silent, don't think way that most people think of this. We do more on the go meditative techniques, mindfulness activities, crafts and stuff like that. However, I've said frequently the fact that the younger two are able to use meditation and mindfulness to help them to change their emotions, change how they're feeling, come out of tantrums and stuff like that. With our eldest, I feel like because of the stage of life that she was in when we started doing these things more regularly, she's not learned as easily how to implement those techniques in a moment where she needs them. Also because of the phase of life she's in as far as school and learning goes, she doesn't seem to understand how then it can be applied to times in her life where it's not associated with problems with emotions flying around as far as she's concerned, as in with problems with her struggling to be able to calm down and stuff like that. I say problems, obviously it's valid when she's feeling like this, but for her in those moments it is a problem. But also she's not got the understanding of how it can help her in everyday stuff. As I said, she's turning out to be a bit of a perfectionist, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But that is starting to cause her I think that's starting to be a root cause of a lot of her anxiety at school and stuff like that. She's recently said to us that she doesn't feel, she'll do her work and then afterwards she worries that it's not right, and then she doesn't feel right in her body and things like that. There's certain things going on here that I know I can help her with. However, I can't do this alone. I have spoken to her about helping through coaching her a bit in how to help turn those moments around, build that resilience, build that understanding that in a lot of these instances it's actually stuff going on in her mind that's making her think this, and it's not real. It's not actually that her work isn't good enough or this, that and the other. It's just that that's how she feels, which is okay. However, that doesn't mean that that is how everyone else will feel about her work. That doesn't mean that that is how she has to feel about her work. So we've come to a sort of crossroads, I feel. I've spoken to her about coaching, which she's very excited to do. She thrives off learning anyway. So she's really excited to sit down and do meditation school for 10 minutes in the evening. That's fine. However, that is one part of the puzzle. She needs more support at school. She is very much a child that masks. She comes across as happy and carefree and all of this sort of stuff, and then actually when it comes to it, and when you know her, you can tell that she's not in that place right now. So I've had to chat with the teacher, because whilst we are her primary caregiver at home, her teacher is her primary caregiver at school. I've explained to her that she's clearly anxious and there's stuff going on, and that she's happy for me to help her with a bit of coaching, and that's fine. I also asked my daughter if she wanted me to talk to her teacher beforehand, and she said yes, which was great because it means that at least I can be on the same sort of page as her teacher. So her teacher said that she's not noticed anything in class. She said she's not noticed anything where she seems to be worried or where it's playing on her mind or anything like that. She's not noticed any signs of other things that might be concerning her, sort of the need to move around that she's stopping herself from doing or anything like that. And that's fine. I'm not expecting her to, and I did express this because I'm very aware that she is a child that masks, and she comes across as very she's very sensitive, and she comes across as very self-aware. And she is, but she's also very, very much a people pleaser. And at such a young age, I mean, she's 6, it's hard to explain to her that she doesn't have to please everyone, and that actually being happy in herself is what's most important. So we're working on this. I've spoken to pastoral at school. I've explained the same thing. She does a special club at school to sort of help build confidence, because I've expressed in the past the fact that she's not overly confident, and that's fine. But she's not fully aware on how to use the skills that she's learning from this. So again, I sort of said, look, I'm going to be doing a bit more sort of coaching stuff with her at home to help build that resilience. I've expressed my concerns around the fact that she's masking, around the fact that these things are clearly playing on her mind when she's at home, away from the environment where she's learning, away from all of those places. And we've gone through it a little bit like that. So where do I feel that I stand now? I feel that I'm doing all I can. I'm very much advocating for my child. I'm making sure that the school are aware of her emotions, how she's feeling. I've also made sure that they're aware that actually I'm wondering if school is the best environment for her at the moment, or whether she needs some space and to learn how to build this resilience in her own time without external pressures. So that's one part of the puzzle. I'm very much at a crossroads again, now that I've gone through this process, of having to learn to trust myself and trust that I'm doing the right thing for her, because very much I very much feel like I'm that parent at the moment. I'm the one that's going up to the school and going, this is an issue, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not. I'm aware that the teachers are overworked. I'm aware that they're doing their best. I'm aware that they've got 30 odd kids that need sorting out, and that's just in one class alone. It's not the best designed environment in general, school as a concept, to get one-to-one help. So I'm aware of all of these things. So I'm having to trust that, even though I feel like a bit of a fusspot, even though I feel like I'm making a big deal possibly out of nothing, it might appear to them, because they've got this child is capable, she seems happy, and all of that sort of stuff. I'm having to trust that as her parent, as the person that knows her best, and as the person that she's willing to show her true feelings to, that actually going through this process is in her best interest, and the teachers need to see it and need to know in order to help. So I have to trust myself, and let go of those sort of invasive feelings of, oh, I'm just making a fuss, I'm doing this, that, and the other. I have to trust my daughter. I have to trust that she's taken on board what I'm saying. I have to trust that she's not just playing me, which I'm pretty much 100% certain that she's not. I have to trust that at the moment when she says she's happy at school, she is happy at school, and so for now that might be the best place for her, if that's where she feels most comfortable to learn. So I have to place some trust in her. I have to trust the school, and I have to trust that what I'm saying is being taken on board, and that they are going to push forwards with it, that they are going to try and help her to work on those skills. I have to trust that the training that they have is good enough for my expectations, if that makes sense. So there's lots of different things on that front that I have to trust. And in all of this as well, I'm very aware that I have to be aware of the whole person. I have to be aware of the whole person as far as my daughter goes, who she is at home, who she is at school, what she needs as someone that thrives off learning and loves to learn, and what she needs as someone who does struggle with her mental health and isn't necessarily getting all she can do from herself in this moment. I also have to be aware of the whole situation at school. Again, the fact that there are going to be things outside of my control, outside of the teacher's control. There are going to be things going on that I'm unaware of with regards to resources and stuff like that at school. There's lots of different things like that that I have to be aware of. So as a parent, how am I moving on with this now? How do I look at tackling this from all angles? Obviously I am the creator of a course that teaches you to help children with mindfulness. I coach one-to-one children and adults and parents. I understand anxiety, having lived through it, having researched around it, and I feel that I have a good understanding and connection with my daughter. However, this is a lot at the moment. It's a lot at Christmas. It's a lot at any time of the year. I'm also aware that whilst we're on Christmas, that she's excited. There's lots going on. She's building up to things. She's trying to remember words to carols. She's trying to remember words for other things, and she's got a lot lot of additional excitement going on. So I'm aware of that as well. So I am currently feeling rather mentally overloaded. There's a lot going on outside of, like, my daughter. There's a lot going on outside of Christmas. There's lots of other bits and bobs that are lots of other things that I'm juggling at the moment. And in addition to that, our son is very excitable and very tired. And our youngest is still screaming almost every second of the day and is still in our bed almost every second of the night, trying to lie pretty much inside my body. She has a tendency to roll right up to me and doesn't seem to be able to get close enough at any point. So I am very, very tired. And so there's a lot of external factors outside of this. So there's a few things that I'm doing. I'm reassuring myself that I am doing my best. I am helping her with coaching. I am helping her to understand mindfulness and meditation and how they can help her in the day-to-day, how they can help her to let go of feelings of worry and concern and anxiety, how they can also help her to let go of perfectionism and stuff like that. So I'm teaching her, I'm coaching her basically in this respect. I'm having to reassure myself that the school know what they're doing and let go of feelings of anxiety of my own, that they're not just making things worse and they're not just telling me what I need to hear and then sending me on my way, which I'm sure they're not. However, as someone that struggles with anxiety and struggles with things being outside of their control, that is obviously sort of something that I've got to deal with. So I'm having to let go of that. I'm having to try to let go of the feeling that my daughter, that is, can't cope with this. I'm trying to let go of the fact that her masking is a negative thing. The fact that I've recognised that she is masking and that we are battling it sort of 3 ways at the moment is positive. And so I've had to sort of let go of that concern that she's hiding inside more than she's letting on to me, and that she can't cope with it herself, because whilst I'm obviously aware that she is more anxious at the moment, I'm also aware that she is growing, she is learning, she's creating her own coping strategies. So I'm having to sort of let go of a bit of control on that side. And I'm having to try to find more pockets of time to do micro meditations throughout the day, because it's really difficult at the moment. Everything's busy. My mind is racing a lot. I'm meditating regularly because I know the importance of that. I'm trying my best to get more self-care in, because obviously that is vitally important as well. However, my cup needs filling a little bit more than normal at the moment, and I've recognised that. So I'm trying to work more on micro meditations and how to fit those in more, how to reconnect with myself more throughout the day, consciously throughout the day. When I find myself worrying about my eldest, about school, about this, that and t'other, I'm working on letting go. And I've spoken a lot about letting go over the past few months anyway, but I think that this is one thing that meditation can really help us to do, is to connect with those thoughts, recognise what we are feeling in that moment, and let go of that that attachment to that thought. Let go of that feeling of not good enough, that feeling of what if, that feeling of should I have, all of those things. Am I doing the right thing? It's important to let go in these moments and live with that discomfort, but also learn to trust. So these are things that I'm mostly working on of my own. I'm not saying it's easy. Nothing is, especially in the chaos of Christmas. However, these are important things that I'm having to do as someone who's already practiced a lot of this and is already well aware. I'm having to ramp up the levels a little bit more at the moment. So like I said, it's a bit of a stream of consciousness for you today, because there is so much going on, and I thought it would be insightful for you to sort of see my thought process behind recognising issues, behind advocating for my child, sort of how anxiety of my own can play into that as well. Recognising that my anxiety is not her anxiety as well. I think that's also an important thing to say. So this is where we're at. I'm working on myself continually. And this is something that I think meditation also teaches us, is to adapt to moments, to recognise those moments where actually things are a bit trickier than normal. And so, yes, we do actually need to put a little bit more in to help fill our cup more. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm sure there are many of you out there at the moment who are feeling the pinch, feeling the struggle in similar ways, even if it's not related to sort of things that you're having to advocate for your child for, even if it's just the stress of Christmas, year end, things that need to be completed by a certain date, even if it's just that sort of looming deadline of Christmas. I'm sure I am not alone in this. I have created a Christmas coaching package to help you to navigate the chaos of family Christmases, be it managing your own family life and sort of finding calm in that chaos, or helping you to let go of boundaries related to not pushing through on commitments that you don't feel actually you've got the energy for, the mental capacity for. That coaching package is currently on my website. It's called Finding Calm in the Chaos of Christmas coaching package. You get a 10-minute meditation and an hour-long coaching session, which you can just do over and over again to help you. But more than anything, I just wanted to share with you a bit of our story at the moment, a bit of my personal story, my own chaos at Christmas, my own why am I battling this, sort of what am I doing to help myself, what am I doing to help my child, what internal struggles are there that I'm dealing with in this moment. So that's where we're at, and that's what I wanted to do, was to let you know. So I'm going to love you and leave you, and we're going to finish off with a nice deep breath as always. We'll breathe deep into our stomachs and out through our mouth. Fantastic. And I will see you next week.